right, we are super happy to have Dr. Monica Scott on the My K-12 Career Show to share her story and her K-12 journey. Dr. Scott, would you please share with our viewers and our listeners what's going on in your life and in your K-12 career right now?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your show. I've had the privilege of just watching you and your growth and your experience and all of the wonderful leaders that you've had on that I've also reached out to. Because in the education world, it's always about learning and growing. And that's the only way you can learn and grow is to connect with other educators, not only in your area, but throughout the nation. Just a little bit about myself. I grew up and raised by my grandmother. Wow. I grew up in a zip code, and I like to do my hashtag 29203. That was actually a zip code where they say most of the students will amount to nothing. Wow. My grandmother actually had an elementary education as well as my mother, because she was also very important in my life as well. Mm-hmm. But they raised me not to fear anyone. Because I am just as good as the next person, as long as I believe that. And they believed in me, they encouraged me, they motivated me. But the key piece to this is when I was in elementary school, I had a Caucasian third grade teacher. Okay. And she worked closely with all of us. She believed in us, she motivated us, and she made me that teacher leader as a student. Wow. That's when I saw my gift. Okay. Because I had an opportunity to work with other students of poverty. And we didn't know we were into poverty. Sure. But people always whisper to me, you're smart and you can help me because you can also help your peers. And with that, I knew from third grade that I was going to be a teacher. But the other point with that is not only did I have that teacher, but my grandmother, who at that time I did not realize that she really couldn't read and couldn't do any of that stuff. But I would come home and she would check my homework, I thought. And she would say to me, you can do better than this. Go back and fix some of those problems. And I would say to her, Mom, well, which problem should I fix? She said, you figure it out. I didn't realize. Wow. She really did not know. So it would motivate me to go back. And maybe that second or third time she would say, that's better. Did not realize what she was doing to me at that time was making me the great person that I needed to be. And she was correcting me with, don't quickly get something done. Take your time, do it right. Sure. And if you have to go back and do it the second and third time, make sure it's even better. And then thirdly, she would say every morning, my brother and I and my cousin would leave out for school. She said, mind your teachers. That was her way of saying, show the respect to your teachers that you show to us. Sure. So in my education career, I always say it comes from teachers, great teachers that I've had throughout my life. Sure. My role models, because my grandmother and my mom, they were my role models. Yeah. So I had role models within my home. So that's my education experience. Yeah. I don't talk about degrees. I don't talk about any of that. I talk about experiences.
Wow. So you were a vet. Wow.
Yes.
You've done a lot. That is amazing. So yeah, I always say that, long before students enter into elementary school, they already have teachers, right? And in Absolutely. Your case, it was your grandmother, it was your mom. Absolutely. And it sounds like they had a tremendous, profound impact on your life. That's amazing. As you were sharing your story, I was thinking about Dr. Ben Carson. He wrote that book, Gifted Hands. He's a famous neurosurgeon. And his mom was the same way. He didn't realize until he was much older that she couldn't read. Yes. And she did the same thing. Never really caught on when he was younger.
Right.
That was the case. But he just felt like it was, like you said, making him be more clear on what he was doing and checking it twice and just being really meticulous in how he did his work. So that's really powerful that you had that same experience.
Yes, I did.
So you clearly had that calling, that gift of teaching, or realized that you had that gift at an early age. Did that just stick with you at that early age? Was there ever any kind of pivoting, or was it always, hey, I'm going to be a teacher?
It was always I was going to be a teacher. My family, my cousins, they always would say, okay, we're not playing school. I always wanted to play school so I could be the teacher, I could be the boss, I can have them count, I can have them read. You know, they wanted to play hide and seek.
Yeah.
I wanted to play school. So
Yeah.
I've always had that experience. But let me say this, there was a time in my career where I felt burned out.
Mm.
So
How many years in?
I was about 15 years in,
Okay.
and I said, you know, I need a change. But let me tell you the secret to my change. I tried something out over the summer
Okay.
because I actually signed my contract. Tried something out over the summer and realized, this is not for me. I went back to teaching, and then I ventured out again. And I went for about a year and a half where I actually did something different, but it was still related to teaching.
Sure.
At this time, I taught adult eds.
Okay.
Worked in a job training program where I actually taught adults job resume writing skills. I taught them K-12 skills.
Okay.
And just had a great time with adult learners, and then found my way back into the schools. And it was one of my former students who actually ran into me and said, hey, I came by the school looking for you and you weren't there. And I said, no, I'm actually working with adults now and this is what I'm doing. And he looked at me, he's like, no, we need you back in the schools. My cousins and my brothers and my friends, they need you. You were the mom of the school. And it resonated with me. And I thought, wow. And it encouraged and motivated me to return back. So of course I returned back and then I retired. But I always tell people, I'm a teacher at heart, so I'm still in the schools. I find a way to make sure that I'm still in the schools.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So you taught, but then at some point you became a school administrator. Was that always a goal, or did you feel called into that part of K-12 education?
No, that just fell into my lap. At that time, I was actually a first grade teacher, really loving what I was doing. Actually, let me just go back. I actually taught high school.
Okay.
They phased out my program, which was home economics, now family and consumer sciences.
Sure.
So I had to fall back on my early childhood education experience. So picture this. I went from high school to kindergarten to first grade.
Wow.
And when I was at first grade, I fell in love with first grade because I had the opportunity to work with students who could not even identify letters, create words, read, and become paragraphs and write. And I love that. I actually love seeing the growth in those students. Wow. After about 3 years, the principal came to me and asked if I would run the after school program.
Okay.
And I thought, sure, why not? I can help out and do that. So I had about 250 students in the after school program. With that, she came to me and she said, oh my God, you are awesome. You are an administrator. And I was like, no, I'm a first grade teacher. Well, the following year, she came back to me and she said, have you thought about returning to school, getting a degree in administration? I said, no, I'm finished with school. I should have called it bullying because that's but she said to me, she said, I want you to return back to school and get your degree in administration. And if you don't, I'm going to transfer you out of my school. She said, you are beyond, way beyond first grade. And I went, no. She said, yes, you are. And I knew at a point that I had really outgrown that. But sometimes we become very comfortable and we love what we do. Yeah. But still just, it's too small for what God wants in our life.
Need that little push.
Yes. So with that, I returned back to school, received my degree in administration, received 3 job offers a month prior to graduation. Wow. And went directly into administration.
Awesome. Was it also at the elementary too, or?
Well, I started out at elementary school as school administrator and then later went over to the high school and loved both, really loved both.
That's good. Well, you can be a superintendent. You got all the experience. That's really cool. That's awesome. So you've been an administrator at the elementary level, the secondary level. That's amazing. So all of this experience was in South Carolina, right?
Yes, of course.
A specific city?
Actually located in Columbia, South Carolina. Okay. We are the capital city of South Carolina.
Yeah. I've been to Columbia many times. Even
Yes.
though I'm in Seattle right now, I used to live
Okay.
in Atlanta. And so
Yes.
I always made my way to either Savannah, Charleston right there. And
Right.
I've also
Absolutely.
gone up that way through Orangeburg and on up to your famous city, Columbia. So yeah, that's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. So now let's go to 2023. Okay. You
Wow.
worked as a teacher, you worked as an administrator at the elementary, high school level. Now, what are you doing with your career right now?
Well, let me just say this. I also worked at the college level.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I worked at SC Upstate,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the opportunity to teach teachers, student teachers, and classroom management.
Mm.
And one thing is, most of the college professors have never taught. So, how do they teach student teachers how to manage a class when they've never had to really manage a class? They're getting them once we have actually trained them.
Yeah, just that book knowledge.
Book knowledge. So I had the chance to give them that experience from a veteran teacher and school administrator.
Sure.
And then moving forward, I also had the chance to teach teachers in a master's program, divergent learning.
Oh, wow.
So I have also worked at the college level as well.
Do you still do that?
No,
Oh, okay.
no longer teaching at the college level. I have removed some items from my plate to add on new items.
Sure. What are some of those new items, Dr. Scott?
Well, a few things. As you and I had an opportunity to speak earlier, I currently serve on a school board and want to briefly just tell you how I arrived there. As a high school administrator, what I noticed was we were losing too many of our African American males.
Mm.
We had a few teachers in place who just not had that experience to work with our students, to understand our students. They were able to show sympathy, but no empathy because they never walked in their shoes.
Absolutely.
I always reminded them, but sometimes our students come with us and they have home training and they have school training. And sometimes it's not balanced.
Mm.
But I was losing too many of my African American males. And I said, I need to be placed in a position where I can help save some of them.
Okay.
You know, I'm their school mom, but this is just not happening at the level where I am.
Sure.
So I began to pray.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal in my mind is I really just wanted to become the principal of that school.
Okay.
Because I was the assistant and I wanted to be the principal.
Okay.
And every time I would pray, the Lord showed me a school board. I had never thought about a political office, had never run, had never done anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back because that's not the answer I wanted, but that's the answer that the Lord gave me. And I said,
Sure.
Went back, prayed again. He showed me the school board. But let me tell you on the third challenge with that, when I went back, because you know how we are, we still challenge the Lord. We believe what he say, but we still challenge him.
Right.
And I have candid conversations with the Lord because he is my friend.
100.
So I said to him on that third time, I said, you keep showing me school board, but my vision is being the principal. That night, not only did he show me the school board again, but he showed me standing in front of people being sworn in to the school board. And I went, I get it. I get it. I stepped out on faith. Walked away from my job. At the time I was making about $80,000 a year. Walked away making zero. Stepped out on faith. Told my husband the Lord showed me school board and he showed me that I've won. He said, well, you don't have to tell me. I don't question what the Lord says.
Yeah.
Well, actually I ran. Former students and parents and community leaders supported me and I won. But not only did I win, my next two re-elections, I won with the highest number of votes. And my very last election, which was 2 years ago, I made history in the state of South Carolina. I won with the highest number ever of school board votes in the state of South Carolina.
So how many years have you been on the school board total at this point?
A total of 12 years. And let me just say, it's not because I am great. It is because the students, the parents, and community know that I care about them.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what does the future hold for Dr. Monica Scott? Like, do you see yourself only staying on the board. That's a very important job, obviously. But, there's also a pretty important job out there called superintendent too. Would you ever see yourself going that route or no?
I really don't know what the future holds for me. I just know whatever it is, I am ready for it. I've completed so many bucket lists and have to start over. And I just think wherever the Lord wants to place me, I am ready, I'm capable, and I'm able to just do the job as long as I have an opportunity to work with people, work with our youth,
Yes.
work with our parents, and work with education in some form or fashion.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's really
Yes.
good. Wow. So, man, that's amazing. So you also, in addition to working on the board, you're also an entrepreneur, as we like to say in K-12 education, an edupreneur.
Yes, I
So
am.
what do you have going on in the educational space as far as being an entrepreneur?
Well, you know what? I just really love what I do. I've had an opportunity to be a national professional development trainer.
Okay.
And also where I teach teachers, classroom management, data analysis training, peer teacher, mentors to new and veteran school administrators. And I also work with leadership. I really, truly believe that it takes a team and it takes a village. And I always remind people, it doesn't matter what state your students are, the teachers are, people move, we're transit. So all students belong to me, regardless of what state they are. I travel nationally, and I'm also certified as a Ruby Payne trainer.
Oh,
So
okay.
not only do I train with my own business, I train nationally with Ruby Payne emotional poverty as well.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Have you
Yeah.
ever been out to the Pacific Northwest? You've been out to Seattle?
I have not,
Okay.
but invite me. I'd love to come.
100%. We need to try to make that happen. 100%. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm originally from the Midwest, and I have, like I said, used to work in Georgia. So I've worked in most of my career has been in Georgia, Missouri, but for the last almost 5 years, I've been in the Pacific Northwest. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's a great place out here. I love it out here in Seattle. We're like literally 2.5 hours north of Portland, Oregon, and 2.5 hours south of Vancouver, Canada. So it's a pretty cool spot.
Well, I would love to come. I've only trained in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia,
Hmm.
Florida, Virginia, and have my first training in a few weeks in Tennessee. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Awesome. That's really
Yes.
cool. So we'll definitely make sure we get all of that information from you.
Okay.
Because we definitely want other K-12 leaders across this country that are watching this to be able to communicate and connect with you. But Dr. Scott, I really want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing your story, your journey, all that you're going through, all that you've been through, how you were raised, all the great things you got going on with the school
Thank you.
board and your business as a trainer and a consultant. But before you leave, would you please share with our viewers and our listeners some parting words of wisdom? Tell us how we can connect with you, and then
Absolutely.
we'll say goodbye.
Okay. Well, I'll just share with you the two quotes that I live by. And one is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And then my second quote would be, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. You
Yeah.
teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And that's just how I live. You can contact me through as Dr. Monica E. Scott. My email address is putting students with an S first,
Okay.
2012 at gmail.com.
Okay.
Telephone number is 803
Okay.
200 2121. That's 803 200 2121. And I am known to return all telephone calls
Awesome.
and emails within 24 hours, even with school board receiving over hundreds of emails every other day or so.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So
Yes.
is there a story behind that 2012? Is that when you started your business?
The 2012 is my first year actually that I ran for school board and I won. And that was my email address, putting students first, because that has always been my motto, my goal. And students know they eat before I eat. If I have lunch and they don't have any, they eat first and I eat what's left.
I love it. Wow. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. coming on the show, and we wish you all the best. I can tell that there's greatness within you.
Thank
You're
you.
a woman of faith, and I just feel like the best
Hallelujah.
is yet to come for you, Dr. Scott. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your time and being patient with me. And I look forward to connecting with you soon.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.